Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you have seen your assignment marks. One doubt was there regarding the assignment marks. Uh, since many of you were not able to attach that particular assignment properly back to your respective assignment portals. The thing is that assignment will act as a first interface for us. Now that the assignment date has finished, I don't want to take the assignments right now, but we'll go with majority. If you people have already done it, send me your particular assignment. Means those who have not completed their assignments and are yet to attach it, please numbers to my email address, and here will be my email. Please note it down. But I will be waiting till only like 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock today. After that, I will finalize that particular marks. I hope till 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, or let us say 6 o'clock in the evening, that's enough time for you to attach back the attachments. So please make sure you are doing that work. If in case if you are still having some trouble, please let me know through email. Then I will try to look into that matter. Hope it's okay for everyone now. Fine. Let us continue with our subject rather than wasting much of our time. As I remember, we were in. I hope this slide. Can anyone remind me whether we were there in this slide or not? We discussed the two types of
Sir, we need to start
static
anatomy, sir.
and dynamic.
Anatomy of a web page. Sir, we have completed this topic. We have to start anatomy of a web page.
Okay, anatomy of a web page. Very good. So let us begin. But before we move on to that particular anatomy of a web page completely, let us try to understand what are the various things that are available, technologies that are available, and tools that are available in web development. First, when we talk about web development, there are two things. One is client, and another is the server. So on the client side, what are the tools that are required for us? Basically, we need a web browser. So there are various companies which have come up with their own web browsers. One or few of them are listed over here. One of it is Internet Explorer, which has been given by the Microsoft. Okay, let us have it as a quick overview. I got a comment that we have already completed this also. Just for a brief overview. Okay, so one of it is Internet Explorer, which is not so good. Another one is Firefox, Mozilla Firefox, which is very nice. Another one is Safari and so forth, Opera and Chrome. Chrome is mainly used nowadays, but I prefer Brave, Brave. When it comes for server side, we need two things on the server. One is the server application server, which is going to, or web server, which is going to take the input from the client as a HTTP request, sends out what is the request made for, then based on that particular request, try to find out, is there any appropriate program that can be executed on the application server? If it can be executed, what is the technology needed for it? So we need two things. One is the web servers, another is the server-side scripting tools or languages. In case of web servers, we have got Apache Tomcat web server, we have got Microsoft IIS server, we have got on the server-side scripting ASP.NET, JSP, PHP, Cold Fusion, Ruby, Perl, and Python. Python nowadays being learned a lot when it comes for web development in Python. It is called as Django. It's a framework built on top of Python. So when it now let us try to understand the anatomy first. Before we understand the anatomy, let me keep a word over here. Anatomy is a medical term which will out what are the various components that are there in human body and what are those components going to work, what is their functionality, how they are interrelated. Same way, when we talk about a web page, we'll talk about what are the various elements that are kept in the web page and what are their basic functionalities. So when it comes for the first element, it is the logo of your entire company. The logo tells what is a company and what is the basic functionality of that company. For example, if you see a logo of Mercedes Benz here, you will come to know that okay, it's a car making company basically. Though it manufactures aircraft engines, a lot of things are being manufactured. You have got shipyards being built by that particular company, but mainly it is made for cars. So next will be your header describing what is the company made of. For example, in case of GIOE, it will be Government Institute of Electronics, Secunderabad. Then you will have a below menu which will list out what are the various other web pages that are available in the web page, clicking on which you can move on to next pages, or we call it as navigation. So basically menu is a navigation bar for us. Next, what is the web page built for? That is the content area. Here you will, in this content area, you will try to keep the first basic images or videos, slideshows, and then some text describing what are those images and videos meant for. Some attractive look and feel type of main content of the entire web page will be kept over here. But apart from the main content, you need to sometimes have some news to be announced here, some very important information to be passed to the user along with the content area. So for that reason, we'll have a sidebar. For example, in case of educational institutes, it will be whether the results have been announced or not, the timetable for the exams have been come out or not. All those effects will be given in. Sometimes you will notice that the text will be moving up to down or down to up and then right to left. You will see moving from down to up and then from right to left. Something like this. We'll see how to create that or move that text also. Then the last component that will be there or the last element that will be there in the web page is the footer. This footer will detail about the company's address, its social media links, as well as who has built this website. It will be just given out over here, like a copyright symbol with who has built it, so that no one else can copy it if it is copyrighted. So these basic things are on the displayable are the displayed matter on the web page. Whatever we have talked on are the displayed matter. But to display it, there is a background code required for it. That background code has been given on the right hand side. So first thing, for this web page to exist, we need a URL. In the very first part of our unit, I have talked in detail about URL. URL gives a unique address to this web page so that it can be accessed throughout the world. So without the URL, the web page existence is not possible. Second thing, when we open this web page in a browser, there will be a title of that browser on the address or browser tabs. So that title tells what is this web page meant for. That title can be given over here. Then in the background, it will also have meta description, which will tell what type of tags or words are associated with the page so that it can be searched on. Such type of word is searched in the Google, this web page will be popped up in the list of search websites. If we don't associate with this web page any meta tags with it, then this web page will not be searchable. Okay, so one of those things that are attached over here is the meta meta tags. But apart from meta tags, you have got various other things telling whether this web page can be translated from one language into another language or not. What type of uniform text format is being followed over here, UTF-8 or what? So all those things are not displayed on the web page. Next comes the tags which will make this web page to appear. So over in the content area, you will keep an image, you will keep a heading, and then below the heading, you will describe what is it web page meant for. To keep the heading, you have got H1, H2, so on till H6. We'll come to know about all of them. Then to keep an image, you will have an image tag. Then this alt attribute is very important. Just for a brief overview, I'll tell you, whenever we are trying to browse a website, we as a normal human beings are gifted with our eyesight and we can see the web page. But there are certain people who don't have the eyesight. For them, the web browsers are having some plugins, and nowadays it is coming inbuilt, which will read out the web page. So while reading the web page, if the text is there, the browser can read it. But if there is an image, it cannot be read. If a video is there, it can be played and the voice can be heard. But if an image is there, it cannot be read by the blind people. For that reason, what is the image meant for will be described in the alt attribute, alternative for the image. This alt attribute is very important. We should always keep in our mind that whenever we are building any website or any web page, that should be accessible by all the human beings. Then we have got the actual text to be displayed in the body copy, which will keep all the data. We'll come to know about each of it separately. So it's a brief overview about this web page. I hope, can I be acknowledged whether this was clear or not? This web page, this slide is okay for everyone? Okay. So now,
Sir, explain meta description once more, sir.
which one? Can you keep it in the text box in the chat? Meta description. Okay. Meta description is simple. Suppose I have created this web page. After creating it, I have associated it with some website. Now, whenever someone new, if I know the exact URL, I will type. If I don't know the URL, what I will do, I will search in the Google or some search engine. So while searching in the search engine, will I be able to write the entire URL? No, I don't know it exactly. So what I will do, I will try to type certain words which I want in this web page, or I need the search engine to pop up those web pages which are associated with that word that I'm searching for. So that word will act like a tag which is used for searching. Now, that tag is very important for us. We know that there will be people who will search with so and so tags, some expectations. For example, I'm building a website for, let us say, Polytechnic students. So, what tags I will associate with it? I will associate Polytechnic. I know that there will be some GIOE students searching for it, so I will associate it with GIOE. Then I know that there are certain students who will be coming from Secunderabad, so I will associate Secunderabad with my web page. But where to associate it? All those to tell uh, the search engines that this web page will be linked with so and so search tags. I will mention all those tags in the meta description. Not just that, I can also tell whether this body area which I have typed in English, can be translated into another language or not, is able to be translated or not. If I follow only English language, then it cannot be translated. If I follow a uniform text format, which can be interpreted by all the translators which are available online, then I can translate it. To tell the web browser whether it is translatable or not, I need to mention it in the meta descriptor. I hope it's okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Moving on for next one, we have seen just a brief overview of the web page actually. In reality, this simplicity is not being followed nowadays due to a lot of enhancements. In fact, what I have kept here in the next slide is also not being followed. There is more complexities coming in. As I told you, we'll just learn about certain things in the web which are very predominantly used. Rest of the things can be adjusted as you wish. So now, coming on for some complex nature of a web page anatomy. The web page nowadays is being composed of the logo as we have talked about. Then, since a lot of access is being done through mobile, we are keeping all the social media links at the topmost corner, so that at the first instant is itself the social media can be accessed by normal people. And this has become a booming factor for our web industry to survive. Otherwise, it would have gone beyond its limits. Now, after these two things, which are very important, next comes the navigation bar. This navigation bar nowadays is being made auto hidden. Auto hidden means sometimes in your mobile you will have the three lines coming in on the top right corner. If you click those three lines, you will get a pop up or a slider. You will get all the list of other web pages or links which you can click and open the uh, particular page. But when it comes for a desktop, you need not have those three lines. You can have, it's a bigger screen, so you can have all of them in one single line. That's the navigation bar. So next coming on, the main picture nowadays, since everything is being made to be look attractive, and everyone expects that whatever we are trying to look for is as per the requirements, is as per the standards. So first thing, instead of keeping a title or a text, we are keeping a main picture, which is very very attractive to the user, and it makes the user to go through rest of the text and rest of the content. So what is the main picture? Its heading will be given on the right hand side and its description will be given below. Next, after this section is over, we will have usually these type of formats of web page are being followed in the e-commerce web industry. So whether it is e-commerce or whether it is online transactions, you need certain actions to be performed by the user. For example, let us consider it as a Facebook. So when we talk about Facebook, you will have a picture and then a brief about Facebook, and then it will ask you to register or log in. So those register and login are the actions that are expected by the user to be performed. So those are called as call to action buttons. Login and register buttons are called as call to action. Similarly, if it is a online selling platform like Amazon or Flipkart or something like that, you'll have the product's photo, then the product's name, and then the description, and then you will have to buy or add to cart. So those are also call to action. So any type of action which is making the user, which is calling the user to perform it, is called as call to action, which will be kept just below the main picture. Then you will have certain testimonials given by other users like online reviews or certain type of star markings or thumbs up markings telling that yes, this product is good. So those testimonials can be attached or mentioned over here in this block. Then certain other pictures of the main picture, main product, or other services associated with this particular product or information, whatever we have kept, can be kept in this particular block. Then we will have online reviews, which will detail about whether the product is good or not, and it will be usually in text format, like a chat. But this one will be testimonials will be like a numerical figure telling how many thumbs up has come, how many thumbs down has come, or how many star ratings are there. Now there is one more called as trust symbols. Trust symbols are given by other companies telling that yes, this particular company which is having this particular website is good enough to be and trustworthy. For example, if I am having a website which is having a hiring portal, now to hire or to offer a job, I have mentioned a lot of jobs over here. But whenever a job seeker is looking at this website, it will first have a doubt whether it is a proxy website or not. If it is a spongy scheme, then I'll just land into a wrong website. My details may be corrupted. So for that reason, some companies will be there, like Wipro or Infosys or certain such type of companies, which will tell that yes, these jobs were our jobs were posted over here, and we have got satisfactory employees from them. So those symbols will be attached over there. Then we will have a map about our particular company. Then after the map, you will have lead forms or pictures with additional city. For example, whenever you want to purchase anything on Amazon, first thing you need to do before you click on buy is to log in. To log in or sign up, you need to have those forms kept over here. They are not so important as that of clicking on buy, because if you click on buy automatically, if you're not signed in, it will lead to this particular form. Then finally, you will have the footer, which is just as I described earlier. So this different components have been uh, enhanced and are keeping on enhanced day after the other. And each web developer has its own liberty to modify it. But a common thing, standard one is this one. But it's not always necessary that you keep whatever we have listed over here as it is in their respective uh, places. You can modify it as you need. But we should make sure that there are certain standards being followed so that our website doesn't look awkward from others. Outstanding is different, looking out awkward is different. So please make sure when you are building your web page, you are making sure that you are following certain international standards so that you are not looking very awkward. Or if it is reasonably correct, then even if you stand alone, it's the correct. So I hope this web page is fine for this slide is okay for everyone, whatever I have described here. One last thing, whatever we have discussed here, with regard to it from the previous one, I have kept a somewhat, we call it as a wireframe, wire, WIRE, wireframe, describing what we have discussed earlier. So you can see that there was a header, then navigation bar, then main content area. Now content area I have kept as feature photo, and then the content, and then the slider is as it is, but it is divided into two sections, one for very important information, another for fixed type of information, then the footer, then certain margins from the outer lines, such type of things. I hope this slide is okay. Can I be acknowledged in the chat box? Regarding the testimonials, it's like you'll have, for example, you have yesterday seen some of my videos. You were able to see some thumbs up mark ratings and thumbs down ratings. So in that part, thumbs down and thumbs up will tell as a testimonial from others that yes, this particular product or this video was okay, is reasonably correct to be viewed. If you have lots of thumbs down, that means that you don't, lot of people does not agree with it. Means not all the people, those who are online community and those who are very proud to just pop up and tell that yes, you are right or wrong from their perspective, whether a lot of people agree with them or not, that's the point. So trust testimonials are going to tell whether this particular product or the service or the video is correct or not. When it comes for online reviews are like for the videos, you can consider them as comments. You have two different things. One is the thumbs up and thumbs down or the star ratings. Another is the comment section. I hope it's clear now. Okay. One more doubt was it main picture. It's the main attractive photo which will lead the user to view this web page. So this main picture should be such that whatever the web page is meant for, it should describe that okay, this web page is meant for so and so product. For example, you are a main picture over here of let us say sports shoes, and instead of attractive sports shoes, someone kept like a sandal. So will that page be viewed again? No, no one will try to look at that web page. Your title is telling it's the sports shoes, and the heading was telling it's sports shoes, and the image was telling that no, it's a slipper. So no one will look at that particular web page. So this main picture should be such that it should, in a pictorial view, tell what is the web page meant for. I hope it's clear now. Okay, fine. So moving ahead, I have kept over here whatever we have discussed in detail in the text format. So I'm, as a, you know that I'm not going to read out the entire slide one after the other. You need to pause this video and go through that particular slide and get to know what extra things I have written there. Same way, I have kept for the feature section what is the important points to be known. I have kept over here. If you have any doubts in that particular part, you can raise that doubt. But I want to progress further, and let us go ahead for this particular point. So now that we have gone through the brief overview of our web page, let us try to understand the coding behind that web page. So whenever you want to write any HTML document, web page, it's a HTML document. So when we talk about HTML document, HTML is a language which is composed of various tags. These tags are the reserved words which are defined in the web browser, and the web browser understands it and interprets it in their respective definitions. Okay. Now, in order to tell the web browser that where I'm writing is a web page, I need to tell that it is a web page composed of HTML language. Now to tell it, I need to write the first tag as the HTML itself. So my first will be HTML, but in HTML, each and every tag is associated with its corresponding closing tag. That means there is always it's a reality that every HTML tag will have its corresponding another tag. That another tag is the closing tag. So we'll call the first tag as the opening tag and the next corresponding tag to it as a closing tag. We call them as a pair of HTML tags. In whatever comes in between them, including them also HTML to HTML, whatever is coming between them is called as the element of that. I will detail about all those things separately, but to give you an overview, every HTML web page should start with a HTML tag, that is opening HTML tag, and should close with a closing HTML tag. Now, within this HTML, now that we have told the browser that we are following HTML language, there are two components of web page. First component is the hidden part, which is not displayed on the web page. Another is the viewable part, which is displayed on the web page. Now, for the hidden part, we have got a tag called as head tag, and for displayed matter, we have got a tag called as body tag. So whatever meta tags or metadata we were discussing earlier, title of the web page, which is not displayed on the web page, title was displayed on the browser's tab, browser's window. Those type of things can be kept in the head section. So in the head, usually we'll keep the meta tags for search engines for optimization. Another is if I need any as you can see, I hope it's, if you observe carefully, you can find that this particular block in the body is with a background of light pinkish color, pinkish orange color. Are you able to find it? And the color of the text is not black, it's grayish. And here I have applied some bolding effect to the does. And there are some bullet markings. So all these effects that are to be introduced are styles that have been kept in other definitions that have been kept in the cascading style sheets. Cascading style sheet is a different language and HTML is a different language. So cascading style sheet defines what is the styling effect to be introduced in the web page. So I need to link that particular cascading style sheet files which are having an extension of .css into my actual HTML web page. To link them, we'll mention the links in this particular head itself. So the second thing that will be listed over here is the links to the files that control the styling. The third thing is certain things will be kept in the web page. If we click it, some action will be performed. So to perform any action, for example, logging in action, while you are typing the password, a register, let us tell. While you are typing the password, while registering, it will ask to retype the password also. And it will check whether the password which has been kept in the upper text box is correct as the below text box. Actual password and the retyped password, both are correct or not, both are same or not. To check it, we need some logic program behind it, behind the web page. Those programs will be defined in the JavaScript or jQuery using the extension of .js. These are different from the HTML web page. So these are different languages altogether from the HTML. Now to link these two, HTML and the JavaScript and jQuery, we need to mention those things over here. Links to executable files. It is possible for an insert to take class. It's not possible. Okay, we can continue till 3:40. Okay, fine. We'll have two sessions if possible, and we'll try to come on par with the first shift. Already for first shift, I have started with the programs, so that's why I wanted for you also to start it. So let's continue. It's a good news. Thank you, Pawan. So coming next, those things are not displayable things on the web page. Those are actions which are performed in the background. So those things will be kept in the head tag. In the body tag, you will keep those type of things which are visible on the web page. For example, you will keep the navigation text. You will click the text and it will perform the action. What program is used for performing is hidden. That's kept in the head tag. But what text is to be collected, what is the navigation text is being displayed. So that is navigation. You'll have certain branding, some logos being kept. For example, in my YouTube channel, I have kept some branding logo below in the video. So you can keep any type of branding over there. That tells, okay, you are using so and so mark for your product. Next is the text. Text tells what is the actual content. Images helps to illustrate the text. Videos will enhance the text content. Audios, you can keep anything. Links, forms, slideshows, footers, all these are displayable matters. So all of them will be kept in the body section. So in brief, if you want to create a HTML web page, you need to write those web pages in HTML language so that the browser can interpret it as per the HTML tags. Now, HTML is composed of various tags. Each tag is having its own meaning associated with it. Browser will try to get the tag and render the text, whatever is there between the tag, opening and closing tag as per the definition of the tag. Okay, we'll discuss in detail about what is that rendering and all that effects. But to be a point, whenever you want to write a web page, you need to write it within the opening and closing tag of your HTML. Now, within the opening and closing tag of HTML, you have got two sections. One is used for hidden section, another is used for displayable section. Hidden section will be written in head tag. Displayable section will be written in the body tag. Moving ahead to the next part, here I have kept few more things which have not been discussed earlier. Like for example, in the previous slide, here I have not mentioned anything what is needed about this HTML tag. What used to happen in the earlier days was browsers were not written so well versed. They were very immature and they were just for interpreting compiler type of effect. They were not able to understand much languages. They were very we can say a naive type of browsers, and to those browsers initially HTML was the language which they understand. Later on, time progressed and people started defining their own different things. Like for example, JavaScript came into existence. You have got XML that is coming into existence. You have got jQuery that came into existence. Bootstrap, all those different technologies came into existence. Now to browser, it became a headache. Which language is being used for what purpose? So to make the browser clear cut that whatever I am defining in this particular program is a HTML program or a JavaScript program or a jQuery program or a Bootstrap program or a .css program, whatever is the program meant for, we were using a tag called as document type tag. This document type was telling the browser that, okay, we are using HTML over here. If we use CSS, we used to write CSS. If we are going to use XML, we used to write XML here. But the main part is doc type with a exclamation. Do remember that this doc type is a single tag. It is not having any of its closing tag. Okay, it is not having its corresponding closing tag. Majority of the tags will have their corresponding closing tags, but here it is not the case. Now, this tag, in short, I have written over here in the red color. But if we try to understand it in a much better way, let's see over here in this dark blue. Here I have written doc type, HTML. Now I'm telling that this HTML language is being used in the below program. That HTML language is going to have certain tags. The definition of the tags is to be known to the browser. There were certain tags which were introduced and later on they were thought to be not useful and they were taken out, and some other tags were introduced. So which definition is to be followed? What are the standards to be followed used to be specified after that? So we are telling that we are using HTML and it is of public nature, means it's publicly standard, and that standard has been defined by W3C Consortium. This is the main organization which maintains all the standard definitions of the tags, W3C Consortium. And I'm telling that this organization has used document type definition, and the HTML language that we have used is going to follow a extended HTML version 1.0, and it is transitional, means it can progress further. And whatever we are writing down is in English language. And the actual definitions of the entire tags can be found using this particular link. So when the browser sees this particular tag, gets to know that, okay, the document that is being written is the HTML, and it is going to follow the public definitions defined in W3C Consolidatorium. It is going to follow extended version of HTML with document type definition, and then it's going to have certain new effects in it, and it is going to use English language. And the entire definition has been defined in this particular link. So in order to interpret any tag, it will go through this link and get to know what is the definition of it. Okay. So, but one important point over here is this document type tag is optional. It's not being required nowadays because all the browsers are well versed. They can use any type of definitions nowadays. They are well versed in all those technologies. So meeting is going to close in 5 minutes, it seems. Let's continue. The next tag that we have seen is the HTML tag. HTML tag will have its opening tag and a closing tag. This is called as a HTML element. Whatever is there in between them, including these two opening and closing tags, is called as the HTML element. This is called as the root element of the entire web page, because in this one only, in root element only, which will be composed in. So next is the head tag, which will contain all the metadata and all those descriptions, and it isn't the content that is displayed. It is not the content which is being displayed. So next is meta character, which is actually the character set telling that whatever is written in the coding is going to follow a uniform text format of version 8, so that it can be translated into other languages. There is a translator required over there, but whether it is able to be translated or not, if you don't write it as UTF-8, then it is translated. There are various versions of UTF also. We'll see later on. Next is the title, which will appear in the tab of your browsers or the window of your browser. Next is the body, which will display all the content to the user. From this slide, we'll continue in the next session. Till this particular slide, is there any doubt? Okay, good. Yeah, Kumar, what is it you need? What do you need, Kumar? Meta character set is going to contain different versions of text formats. For example, there is one text before this UTF. Whatever I used to write in English was taken as a ASCII code, and ASCII code was 7 or 8 character length code. You all know it. So when we used to use ASCII, that ASCII was having only for English. It was not there for Tamil, it was not there for any Japanese language or any other Chinese language. So whatever I have defined in the text has to be rewritten in that language. But suppose if there is a translator available, online translator or something, if there is English text available with us, can it be translated into other language? It would have been easy